Liebe Hörerinnen und Hörer.
Hello and welcome to the first part of the German by Radio course Deutsch, warum nicht? Lesson 1 is called Das ist ein Lied. This is a song. In this language course we've adopted a new approach. And, as you'll probably notice, there are a few surprises in store too. The course also begins in a different way from most other language courses. It doesn't start with the story, but with something that'll help you throughout the course to understand German more easily. But listen for yourself. In the first program, we'd like you to get a feeling for the sound of the language. First of all, listen to the greeting again.
Liebe Hörerinnen und Hörer.
Did that sound typically German? Well, you can hear some more examples in a moment. But first, we'd like you to try an experiment. Just listen to the sound of the language. Don't try to understand each individual word. Here's the first example.
Und nun kommen wir zu unserem nächsten Hörer. Hallo?
Ja, guten Tag. Ich heiße Peter Dressler. Ich rufe aus Duisburg an.
Guten Tag, Herr Dressler.
Ja, ich habe da mal eine Frage zu Ihrer Sendung aus der letzten Woche. Und zwar haben Sie dagegen...
That's what German sounds like. That was the beginning of a conversation. People introducing themselves on a radio phone-in program. Listen to the next example.
Ich und du, Müllers Kuh, Müllers Esel, das bist du.
That's what German sounds like when children speak the language. It's a counting rhyme that children often say when they're playing a game. Now for the next example.
Es ist 10 Uhr Weltzeit. Hier ist die Deutsche Welle, Sie hören Nachrichten. Bonn. Das Bundeskabinett berät heute die Eckwerte für den Haushalt des kommenden Jahres. Nach Angaben aus Regierungskreisen will der Bund im kommenden Jahr neue Kredite von rund...
And that's what German sounds like in a news broadcast on the radio. Listen to the next example.
Verkauf dich nicht, Berlin, jung bist du nicht.
And that's how German sounds when it's sung. Now here's Andreas to tell you more about the sound of the language and what you've just heard. Andreas plays an important part in this language course, but you'll find out more about him in Lesson 3. Andreas will now tell you how to say, it's a song in German.
Das ist ein Lied. Das ist ein Lied.
And now Andreas will tell you the name of the songwriter, who the song is by.
Von Klaus Hoffmann. Von Klaus Hoffmann.
Listen once again.
Das ist ein Lied. Von Klaus Hoffmann.
The last example is an excerpt from a well-known German play written in the early 19th century. Perhaps you know who the author is. He's very famous.
Habe nun, Philosophie, Juristerei und Medizin und leider auch Theologie durchaus studiert, mit heißem Bemühen. Da steh ich nun, ich armer Tor, und bin so klug als wie zuvor.
That gives you an idea of how German sounds when it's spoken on stage, in the theatre. That was an excerpt from an important work of literature, Faust. Here's Andreas to tell you how to say, this is a text in German.
Das ist ein Text. Das ist ein Text.
And now he'll tell you who the text is by.
Von Goethe. Von Goethe.
Listen once again.
Das ist ein Text. Von Goethe.
Did you notice that Andreas began each sentence with the same words? In both cases, he used the same structure. We'll tell you more about that in a moment, after the melody. The phrase das ist, this is, or that is used to introduce something. For example, a song or a text. Listen to the examples once again.
Das ist. Das ist.
Das ist ein Lied. Das ist ein Text.
Von tells you who something is by. In our examples, the names of the authors who wrote the texts.
Von. Von. Von Klaus Hoffmann. Von Goethe.
Listen to everything once again.
Das ist ein Lied von Klaus Hoffmann. Das ist ein Text von Goethe.
Two statements can also be joined together in one sentence, like this.
Das ist ein Lied von Klaus Hoffmann. Das ist ein Text von Goethe.
In today's program, we've heard different examples of how German is spoken, to give you a chance to become attuned to the sound of the language. Well, that's all for today. Goodbye for now, and do join us for the next lesson.
Auf Wiederhören.